Hey, what's going on, everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another standard deck tech. And today we're going to be talking about budget Boros humans. This is probably one of the best budget decks I've ever built on the entire channel. This is gonna be a really fun deck to go over. So, as always, let me know at the end of the video, what do you think about the list? Is there any card that I forgot to include that I definitely shouldn't have? As well as let me know what you would do if you would upgrade this from a budget deck. Just let me know in the comment section below. So, okay, so a little bit of a disclaimer, sort of. I kind of built a list like this in Pioneer, I want to say it about a month and a half ago. So if you see some cards that are very similar, there's definitely a reason why, just because a lot of the cards they've been printing recently are definitely very, very strong for the Pioneer format. But we've been doing a lot of standard decks on the channel here, just because a lot of local game stores are starting to play a lot of standard, and if you're looking to get into the format, but not spend a lot of money, on your $80, $100 shield drids, and you want to just, play something really cheap but strong, then this is definitely the deck for you if you like white decks or aggro decks. This deck is sweet. So all right, let's go and hop into here. Some of our one drops that we're playing. We're playing 4 Lunarch Veteran, 4 Embereth Veteran, and 4 Recruitment Officer. So Lunarch Veteran is just really strong. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Has the Disturb, you can turn it into the Spirit Cleric there. It's just a really, really strong card. It's really good against the other aggro decks. You're gaining that incremental life, and then obviously as your creatures get bigger as the game goes on, it can just be a pretty solid threat. So definitely a big fan of Lunarch Veteran. We're also playing Embereth Veteran. So not a card that sees a lot of play. And I'm going to be honest with you, I looked at all of the one-drop humans that are currently in the format. And so obviously we're playing a budget deck, so we don't really have room for Hopeful Initiate, for instance. And I wanted a 2-power guy, and Embereth Veteran is a 2-drop human. You also don't really see a lot of people play this card, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to just play something different. It does have a pretty solid ability, though. I mean, able to put a different role on another creature is kind of sweet. So if your opponent, they go to cut down or whatever, you can put it on something else, that kind of thing. Embereth Veteran, definitely not the strongest card in the deck, but it's kind of fun to play some different cards. And hey, it's a 2-1 for 1 human. I mean, that's kind of what we want. And speaking of 2-1 for 1 humans, we're playing 4 Recruitment Officer. This card is incredibly strong. The activated ability is really, really nice, especially late game, when we're trying to refill our hand, that kind of thing. It's definitely very good. I really like Recruitment Officer. The card is very, very strong. So those are our early 1-drops. Let's go and look at our 2-drops we're playing. We're playing 4 Coppercoat Vanguard. It's a Lord that's really good. It gives our other humans Ward 1. Enough said. The card is extremely strong. We're also playing 4 Guardian of New Benalia. I really like this card. 2/2 for 2 with Enlist, which means as this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do it, add its power to this creature's until its turn, and then whenever it enlists a creature, scry 2, and then we can discard a card and give it indestructible until end of turn and tap it. It's just a solid 2-drop in general. There was definitely a few different 2-drops I considered in this deck, and ultimately I liked Guardian of New Benalia the most. We played on turn 2, and then if we have a smaller guy that doesn't make sense to really attack with, we can just go ahead and enlist it, scry 2, that kind of thing. If our opponent's wiping the board or something, we can just discard a card and protect it, that kind of thing. Definitely a big fan of Guardian of New Benalia. And then obviously, what's humans without Thalia, Guardian of Thraben? The card's incredible. It's only 50 cents in terms of US dollars, because guess what? Card's been reprinted 1,000 different times, so the card's really, really cheap. It's just a very, very strong card in pretty much every format that it's legal in. So that's why we're obviously playing 4 Thalia. So top end of our curve here is some of our strong 3s and our 4-drop, which is pretty sweet. We're playing 4 Anim Pakal, 1000th Moon. This card's really, really good. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, put a 1/1 counter on Anim Pakal, then create X 1/1 gnomes that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Anim Pakal. It's basically Adeline for this deck in a way. It's not quite as good as Adeline, but we're also playing Boros, so it's kind of works out for us. So I'm a huge fan of Anim Pakal. I think this card is still extremely underrated. It's definitely very, very strong. Then we're also playing 3 Imodane's Recruiter, much to really no one's surprise because it was in the thumbnail. So obviously we can do the adventure side for 5, make 2/2 knights with Vigilance, but most of the time we're going to be playing it for the main side, where when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and get haste until end of turn. Most of the time is just going to be our very, very strong finisher. We're going to have a whole bunch of 1 and 2 drops in play, and then we're going to slam a Recruiter down, and we are going to win the game. We're also playing 4 Geological Appraiser, 3/2 for 4. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, discover 3, it's banned in Pioneer, but guess what? It's legal in Standard, and it's very, very good. Spoiler alert, we can hit everything in our deck except for the appraisers themselves, so we can just, you know, go have a really nice curve, play an appraiser. Maybe we'll even hit an Imadane's Recruiter, that kind of thing. We hit an Anim Pakal, we hit a Lord, whatever, it doesn't even matter. This card is definitely very, very strong. And we still have one more card to talk about. Unfortunately, it didn't make sense to fit it with anything else that was featured on here, but we are playing 4 Lightning Helix as well. 2 mana, instant, deal 3, and gain 3. Yes, we are playing Thalia, but guess what? Doesn't matter. Lightning Helix is just that good. It's really strong against other aggro decks. It's player removal, it's planeswalker removal, it's creature removal. It doesn't matter. The card is very, very strong. And obviously, we're in Boros, so we have to obviously play Lightning Helix. So definitely a big fan of Lightning Helix in general. I'm very excited to play this in Standard and Pioneer. So, a couple things we still got to go over. We got to talk about our land base real quick, as well as some upgrade options, upgrade options and our sideboarding as well. So our lands are pretty simple. We're playing 4 Restless Bivouac. Bivouac. It's not Biovac, it's Bivouac. It's a really, really cheap man land, and that's why we're playing it. We're also playing 4 Battlefield Forge. Can't believe these cards are over $1 now, but hey, that's standard now. All the paint lands are kind of pricey. Then we're also playing 4 Secluded Courtyard, because guess what? We're playing a human deck, so that's why we're playing Secluded Courtyard. Definitely a big fan of it in general. And then our basics that we're playing 2 Mountains and 7 Plains. Again, we're not playing a ton of red cards. You know, we're playing a handful of humans here and there. And then we got the Lightning Helix, so that's why we're just playing the 2 Mountains. And then we're also playing 7 Plains. And as our spicy basic land of the day, I know I featured these before, but we were playing the really, really cool Boros lands from the it was from the guild kit from a handful of years ago. You know, these are really, really spicy. I have the Gruul lands myself, and I like to play them in a number of different decks. So that's personally what I would play if you're looking to really, you know, spice up your deck a little bit with some very, very cool basic lands. So let's go ahead and hop into the sideboarding here. It's pretty straightforward for the most part. We're going to be wanting Extraction Specialist. It brings back any creature with CMC 2 or less from our graveyard. So that means, you know, any early drop that dies, our Coppercoat Vanguard, our Guardian of Nubanali, our Thalia, whatever. We just grab it back, which is just really, really good. Then we're going to want some extra removal. There's really a number of different good removal spells you could play in this format. In terms of a budget one, you could play Fateful Absence. Get Lost is generally better, but Fateful Absence goes for like $1 a piece, so it's really, really good for our budget. We're also going to want protection spells. I would personally recommend a card like Surge of Salvation. It's really good against the decks that are playing red or black removal, which is a number of different decks. So I highly suggest playing Surge of Salvation in your sideboard. The card is definitely very, very strong. And the upgrading here, which is honestly pretty simple. We're going to want to upgrade the dual and utility lands. That means getting some better Boros dual lands, some Cavernous Souls if you have those laying around, some Aganjos. That's personally what I would recommend. We're also going to want Adeline, Resplendent Cathar, and Hopeful Initiate. They will be very, very good in our human deck. For Hopeful Initiate, I would probably just take out God, I'm forgetting the name of it all of a sudden. The veteran, the red knight, the red human knight. That's probably what I would substitute it out for. And Adeline's really good. The card is incredible. The only reason it's not in the deck is because they go for like $9 a piece, because the card is really, really good. But I highly suggest putting it in the deck if you have some. And the main thing I want to mention is this deck is only $37 to build as it is now. So if you're looking to upgrade it, there's obviously a ton of room, but you can have a very, very strong aggro deck for only $37, which is pretty sweet. I would say this is probably one of the strongest budget decks I've ever featured here on the channel, regardless of format. So, well, that takes us to the end here. Thanks everybody for watching. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the list? Was there a card that I should have had in here that I didn't? And do you have any suggestions for upcoming videos? Just let me know in the comment section below. So, I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.